we have given the Lamborghinis back to Ed to drive some. We're gonna see what his thoughts are today. Come on down to your own garage.
I appreciate you dropping the invoices off.
Yes, I see they're kind of hanging out with your liquor collection over here.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
But wasn't that bad, was it? Hey everyone, and welcome back to the DC Motorwerks channel, because we are not at DC Motorwerks today. We are at the VinWiki headquarters, as we are closing out the Lamborghini series here with Mr. Bolian. It has been a little while that we have given the Lamborghinis back to Ed to drive some and enjoy, and we're gonna see what his thoughts are today. But starting off with the Diablo, I know y'all haven't seen a whole lot about this one, as we didn't film a whole lot because it didn't really need a whole lot. There was just some tidying up that it needed. Like, we needed to properly paint the wing here that was not quite the right shade of black. We also switched the turn signal and brake lights that were in the wrong positions. Addressed some oil leaks as it stained his garage floor, and we didn't want that on these fancy nice tiles, so we spent a good bit of time addressing that, as well as kind of the big gripes of this car is that the wiring was a mess. And if you see here, we've got our bag of spaghetti that is just most of the wiring that was in this car from its Japanese past, with TVs and lights and all kinds of things there. So now we have more properly functioning electronics, where when you hit the brakes, the headlights don't come on and so forth. But the biggest one of them was the brainchild of my partner Andy here, is that he couldn't get out of the car without rolling down the window and reaching out to hit that latch that you just saw me push. And that's because the interior door handles were broken. The plastic door handles on the Diablos of this vintage were notoriously troublesome and would break, leaving you to have to reach out to get out of the car. And those are quite expensive. They are like, I think it was around $2,000 each just for a plastic door handle. So like I said, Andy came up with the awesome solution to make some racing loops, or F40 loops is what Ed calls them. And they are in the proper matching red to go with the past of this car. So that kind of covered the Diablo. Like I said, it is quite a blast to drive, because it is one you don't have to worry about and you can enjoy. So you really didn't miss a whole lot with this one, just some tidying up on that one. But as you saw along the series, is all of the major stuff went with both Murcielagos. Both engines were out, both got clutches. There were little surprises along the way, like the diff on the black car, and some other surprises on this one, but we were able to address those between some cross-reference parts. We were able to rebuild some stuff. We were able to get some stuff used, which is one of the benefits of being an independent shop, is we are not stuck to the guidelines of being in the dealership world. We can kind of do things as we see fit and work with our clients to give them the best solution possible for their cars. And it's been a couple months that this project has finally come to an end. And Ed, like I said, has had these back for a little while now so that he could shake them down, see if anything popped up, and just really reflect on how a fully serviced Lamborghini is compared to the 5 years or so that he's kind of kicked down a bunch of stuff down the road on this car, and 3 years on the black car. So with that said, let's go grab Mr. Bolian and see what he thinks of his freshly serviced Lamborghinis. Mr. Ed.
Yes, sir.
You'll come on down to your own garage.
Well, it's awfully a lot nicer now that the cars are home.
I know, you're filling up some spaces. It must have felt pretty empty in here for a while.
It did, it did. We had room to move, but I'm so glad that they're back, and they're driving great.
Good, yeah, you've had them back for a while. You gotten to put a few miles on them, I hope.
I mean, the concern whenever you're doing this amount of work on a car that generally worked beforehand is that you're not going to appreciate the margin of improvement. And I can say those fears have been quenched. This one in particular is a totally new car. It's so much smoother, shifts so much better, it sounds so much better, it idles so much better. Yeah. Everything is wildly better. And the Roadster, I seriously think it has another 100 horsepower.
That's amazing. That is one of the fights in our industry. I mean, I always tell people the biggest things are like engine mounts and tires. It is always kind of tough giving people that value of what they're getting, because they're like, I drove it there, I drove it back.
Yes.
So it is nice to see that you appreciate that, because these were quite the labor of love.
And they were quite the labor, I saw. I appreciate you dropping the invoices off.
Yes, I see they're kind of hanging out with your liquor collection over here.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
It wasn't that bad, was it?
Everything helps to cope. But, well, we talked a lot about kind of the variation of different approaches that an owner of one of these cars might take, from taking it to a dealer, dropping it off, just say, call me when it's done. It'll cost what it costs, to, what corners can we cut?
Yes.
And I appreciate that you were willing to cut some corners, many of which were not reflected in those invoices. And so I appreciated that we were able to get, to something a little bit more palatable. Selling one Lamborghini to make the other three better, I feel good about the trade-off.
Yeah, I mean, have you lost some of that or gained some mechanical sympathy now that they're more or less perfect?
I find myself being a lot more trepidatious, and then realize, wait a minute, no, I can push this thing, I can lean into it, use it all, and so it's been very, very nice to be able to use all the revs, push it, go fast, have fun, and they have rewarded me for it.
It is a real labor of love for these for me. They say don't meet your heroes, but I guess that's kind of one of the benefits of being independent is you find that relationship with someone that has a passion for the cars. You're not just customer number 123, Ed Bolian, bringing your car into the dealer. And I know we've kind of worked up to that for the last few years.
That's it. And that's where it's so necessary with some of these cars, where the expertise is waning and the people that know everything are retiring, or they're just no longer with us. And so, it can be hard to own some cars, like the red one, when you don't know what's going to happen if things go really, really badly.
Yeah, that one's coming soon too, right?
I need a brake duct that fell off, if you don't mind.
We'll start low, yeah.
And tires. Are you going to do my tires?
Yes, we're working on that. We're getting there.
But yeah, so being able to have you kind of come up through the belts and the ranks and the expertise.
Forgot my belt.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't sleep in it. But the fact that now I've got someone who I can depend on, honestly grants me maybe a little bit of license to push him a little harder, because that was the initial alarming thing. Because if it hadn't been for, over the last few years, you doing more Lambo work and really getting into a position where you were comfortable with them, and I was comfortable with you taking them that far apart, then I would have probably kicked the can down the road for another 6, 12, 18 months. And I certainly wouldn't have done all three at the same time. Right. And learning exactly how close we were to things going really, really badly was a little scary. But
your days were numbered.
But now you're close. It's easy. You're going to see them every so often. Yeah, I think we can push it. And I honestly think, they should be ready for another 50,000 miles each.
Yes, I hope you do drive them that much. Or maybe I can pry them away from you every once in a while and enjoy them for a little while.
For sure. But thank you very, very much. And I'm glad we could make it work. A lot of the people in the VinWiki video about the numbers and the bill and everything like that, they were like, would you have been better off, Ed, to have started with a nicer car? Yeah. And there's an argument to be made. Now, at any moment when I bought all these cars, whether it's 5 years ago, 3 years ago for the black one, last year for that, I wasn't in a position to buy a nice one. I could only afford, with Premier Financial's help, to buy the worst one. Yep. And I think that when you contemplate it in that regard, well, that doesn't mean it's right. It just means it was necessary. But, even with, adding another 30, 50, 100,000 to each car, I was paying less than half of what these cars would have been nice. And I've been able to kind of ride the waves of value. And I think I'm still very, very much to the good. So, I think if you have the right relationship with a mechanic and the right shop, you can buy cars rougher as projects, and collectively, or mostly you're doing it, make them useful. Yeah. So you've added value to the price of the car if you were to think about selling it also. So you win on both ends. I think you might have won a little more on this one, but I'm very, very happy with my side of it as well. Well, I don't think your bank account is as red as the Bugatti yet. No, but we certainly moved in that direction this week. Yeah, so can we move in the direction of getting one for me now? Because that's the goal. That's why I'm doing this, is because I fell in love with them after I got to experience the first one, and Ed was right. It's not a don't meet your heroes kind of moment. They are that good. Well, I think, you could probably talk the JR Garage guys out of theirs. I need a Roadster. Sorry, I got to be picky. Oh, okay. Yeah, so not just any old Lambo. Yeah, not just any old Lambo. If I'm going to get what I want, I need it to be what car factory over here. Yeah. Well, there is the car in Puerto Rico. Yeah, what's going on with that? That seems like it might be the one. I'll ping him again. That sounds good. But are you sad to be returning to a shop full of Mercedeses? A little bit.
I still love them, and that is, the whole reason I got in this business is because I have a passion for the cars.
Yeah.
And this is no different, and I just want it to grow and do more. And but that's kind of the benefit, is that with doing this with you, we are getting all kind of phone calls about Lamborghinis.
There we go.
We acquired a Huracan, a Diablo, a couple Mercies in the pipeline, so things are rolling.
Wow. Well, I mean, I hoped it would pay off at some point, but that's a quicker turnaround than I was maybe expecting. How many Lambo jobs do you think you've booked because of this series?
We're at about a dozen so far.
Holy cow, look at that. Wow, I think I'm going to need a little bit of a sharp pencil on that.
Pinch myself a little bit.
You are now truly the Lambo master.
I know.
So tune in more to DC Motorwerks. You'll see more Lamborghinis showing up in their videos. Hopefully not mine boomeranging back after things break again. That's always the worst nightmare on either side of a repair order. But I cannot thank you enough, Cameron, and the whole team at DC, and you guys for watching, that help motivate him to help me and make these things as good as they can get.